Alrighty guys, welcome to my NBA video here today for Wednesday, January 18th, 2023. Happy Wednesday to you. The weekend's right around the corner. It's hump day. Of course, my name is Brock Page. I've been doing sports picks for free on YouTube since 2016. I also sell my personal plays on patreon.com/BrockPage, where I'm currently 5-0 my last 5 extra daily bets on that site. Now, the best part about the extra daily bet package, it costs just $2.99 to sign up. And the better part is, if you sign up for that package here today, you're going to get access to that membership for the next 30 days. Now, as an added bonus, guys, I'm also going to include my daily best play for you absolutely free. It's going to be included with your purchase. Now, guys, real quick, if you find yourself enjoying these videos every day, day in and day out for the last 7 years, and you want to, show some support, it's obviously strongly encouraged, and you are more than welcome to sign up for any one of my memberships on my website. Now, of course, I'm going to recommend to you that you pick up my all-inclusive, all-access board member package. It gives you access to every single play, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. It literally gives you full access to every play I give out on that site and every single membership that's offered there. If you're a fan of Brock Page, if you have been riding with me for years, you definitely want to think about signing up for that. And of course, if you sign up here today, it's going to work out to be just $1.66 over the long term during that 30-day span. Certainly good value for you, as I'm posting anywhere between 4 to 6 personal plays on that site every single day. Guys, it's a safe and secure website, so if you're serious about sports betting, I strongly suggest that you at least consider it. And of course, guys, if you just want to show support, but not to that extent of the board member package, and you just want to show some kindness, well, I've got many smaller, lesser expensive packages you can sign up to as well. And of course, that includes that red hot extra daily bet package. Short story long, guys, I'd really like you to sign up for a membership on my site. It's very, very important. What we're doing here is special, it's unique, and it's been free for a really long time. All right, I'm just going to throw that out there. Now, you may be wondering what the difference is between what I do on Patreon and what I do here on these free videos. Well, what I do on the videos is I'll handicap the entire slate of games in any given sport, side and total. What I do on my website is I actually share with you which one of these free plays on these videos that I have my personal action on. And once again, guys, when it comes to these free videos, they've been free for a really long time. I'm just throwing that out there. It's only so long I can work for free, guys. Take that for what it's worth. Anyway, let's go ahead and dive into some free content. Listen, you can't work for free if you're getting no support, right? Just throwing that out there. But anyway, Hawks at the Mavericks, 7:30 p.m. East. Dallas is -4, totals 233. And as good as the Mavs have been at home here this year, they've really played some poor basketball over the past couple of weeks. They lost 4 out of their last 5 ball games. And they posted a record of just 2-7 against the spread in their last 9. And speaking of the spread, Dallas is amongst the worst covering teams in the NBA. They're 8-14 against the spread at home. And they're covering in just 33% of their contests for the entire year. Now, they're going up against an Atlanta team who's on a 3-game winning streak themselves. And I'll tell you what, they score a whole bunch of points on the road. As a matter of fact, Atlanta's currently in the top 3 in the NBA in road points per contest. Now, Trae Young, he scores a team-high 27 points a game, along with 9.8 assists. Meanwhile, DeJounte Murray, he's averaging over 20 points a night himself. When it comes to defensive play, the Hawks do a real nice job guarding the three-pointer. Now, injury-wise, Atlanta's mostly healthy at the moment. No significant scratches I can report to you, at least as of right now. Meanwhile, for Dallas on the other side, Hardaway, Kleba, and Wright are out. Green, Doncic, and Finney-Smith are questionable. When it comes to the total, Dallas has gone 64% to the over at the American Airlines Center. Meanwhile, Atlanta's gone 14-9 to the over in their travels. I'm going to lean toward the Hawks +4 over 233. Next game, it is going to be Wizards at the Knicks, 7:30 p.m. East. New York's minus 5.5, totals 222 and a hook. Now, the Knicks have been very consistent over the past couple of weeks. They went 7-2 straight up in their last 9, and they covered in nearly 70% of those contests. When it comes to defensive play, not many teams have been tougher to score against than New York. They give up fewer points a game than most clubs in the East. They also have the second lowest defensive field goal percentage in the entire NBA. Now, when it comes to offensive production, Julius Randle averages a team-high 24 points a game, along with double-digit rebounds. Meanwhile, Jalen Brunson, he's knocking down nearly 40% of his shots from beyond the arc. He's actually second on the team in points with 22 a game. Now, they're facing a Washington team who's really struggled recently. The Wizards dropped 5 out of their last 6, and they successfully covered the number only one time during that span. Now, out of 23 road games this year, the Wizards got the W in just 7 of those contests. When it comes to the injury report, top scorer Bradley Beal, he's questionable to play with a hammy. And when it comes to the total, the Wizards are 14-9 to the under in their travels. Meanwhile, New York saw unders against the likes of Detroit, Washington, and Milwaukee. I'm going to lean toward the Knicks, minus 5.5, under 222 and a hook. Next ball game, it is going to be Hornets at the Rockets, 8 o'clock Eastern start time. Charlotte's minus 2, totals 239. And as bad as both of these teams are, I don't think either club should be laying points on the road. And of course, the team who's laying points on the road in this one is Charlotte. They've got the fewest wins in the Eastern Conference right now, and they suffered losses in 8 out of their last 9. When it comes to defensive play, the Hornets are allowing over 120 points a game in their travels. Now, they're facing a Houston team who, make no mistake, they're awful themselves. But believe it or not, guys, these guys are arguably the best rebounding team in the Western Conference. I know that's hard to believe, but they do a good job grabbing boards. Houston's in the top 5 in the entire NBA in defensive boards per contest. They're also in the top 3 in home offensive rebounding per game as well. Now, Alpi Sengun, he averages nearly double-digit rebounds a night. He's also scoring 14 points a game. Meanwhile, Jalen Green, he's averaging a team-high 21.5 points a game himself. When it comes to the injury report, Kevin Porter Jr. is questionable with a foot. Meanwhile, for Charlotte, Oubre's still out. Hayward and Martin are doubtful. Now, when it comes to the total in this one, Charlotte's 16-8 to the over in their travels. Meanwhile, Houston went 60% to the over in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward Houston plus 2, over 239. Next ball game, it is going to be Cavaliers at the Grizzlies, 8 o'clock Eastern start time. Memphis is minus 6.5, totals 224. And even though the Cavs play some really tough defense, the Grizzlies have been unbeatable here recently. Literally. They're on a 10-game winning streak, and they've been nearly impossible to beat at home this year. Memphis is 19-3 in the FedEx Forum. They're first in the NBA in defensive field goal percentage. Now, no real surprise, Memphis is allowing just 108 points a game in their own arena. When it comes to offensive production, Ja Morant averages a team-high 27.5 points a game. Meanwhile, Desmond Bane, he's drilling nearly 43% of his shots from beyond the arc himself. Now, when it comes to rebounding the basketball, no one grabs more offensive boards a game than Memphis. They're facing a Cleveland squad who has a tough time getting the W on the road. Cleveland's 9-13 straight up while traveling, and they've certainly struggled on the offensive end of the court. The Cavs are currently in the bottom 5 in offensive points per game. Now, injury-wise, Windler and Wade are still out. Donovan Mitchell's doubtful. Meanwhile, for Memphis on the other side, Danny Green is out for them. When it comes to the total, Memphis saw unders recently against the likes of Sacramento, New Orleans, and Toronto. Meanwhile, Cleveland has gone 60% to the under this year against Western Conference opponents. I'm going to lean toward Memphis minus 6.5, under 224. Next game, it is going to be Pacers at the Thunder, 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Oklahoma City's minus 4, totals 240.5. Now, the Thunder's playing some really good basketball here recently. They're on a 3-game winning streak, and they covered in 7 out of their last 8. Now, Oklahoma City's doing a lot of good things on offense. They're in the top 10 in scoring, and they're actually grabbing more offensive boards a night than most clubs in the West. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he averages a team-high 30 points a game, along with 4 boards, 5 assists. Meanwhile, Josh Giddey, he's scoring 16 points a night himself. Now, they're facing an Indy team on the other side who's going to be going to work without their top scorer for, a little bit of time here. Of course, I'm referring to Tyrese Halliburton, who's out. Meanwhile, as a team, the Pacers are on a 4-game skid, and they're one of the worst rebounding teams in the game. They're currently in the bottom 10 in offensive boards, bottom 3 in defensive boards on the road. When it comes to the injury report, Halliburton, Brown, and Tice are out for Indy. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, for OKC, Amorie, Deng, Robinson Earl, and Pokashevsky, they are out for them. Now, when it comes to the total in this one, OKC went 15-7 to the over on their home court. Meanwhile, Indiana went 7-3 to the over in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward Oklahoma City, -4, over 240.5. Next game, it is going to be Heat, Pels, 8 o'clock Eastern start time. Miami's -3 on the road, totals 221. And even though the Heat's favored on the road, they're having all kinds of problems on offense. Matter of fact, Miami averages fewer points a game than every other team in the NBA. No real shock here, guys. Miami's in the bottom 3 and shooting the 3 ball away from home as well. They're facing a Pels squad who's one of the best teams in the NBA in guarding the three-pointer themselves. These guys have the second lowest defensive three-point percentage in the association. You really just can't shoot long range against these guys. They're also one of the better rebounding teams in the league as well. They're in the top 10 in offensive boards, top 3 in defensive boards at home. Jonas Valanciunas, he grabs 9.8 rebounds a night, nearly double digits, 14 points a game as well for the big man. Meanwhile, CJ McCollum, he's scoring over 21 points a game, and he's also drilling 40% of his 3 balls. Now, injury-wise, Ingram, Williamson, and Liddell are still out. Herbie Jones is doubtful. Meanwhile, for Miami on the other side, Robinson, Jovic, and Yurtseven still out. Martin, Lowry, and Haslam are questionable. And when it comes to the scoring, Miami's 14-8 to the under as the road team. No real surprise there because these guys just don't score a lot of points. And they play good defense. I will give them that. Now, the Pels on the other side, they saw unders recently against the likes of Cleveland, Detroit, and Brooklyn. I'm going to lean toward the Pelicans +3, under 221. Next game, it is going to be Clippers at the Jazz, 9 o'clock Eastern start time. Utah is the 6.5-point favorite. Total's currently off the board, and the reason why the total's not posted at the moment is actually the status of a handful of stars on both sides. To start, Utah's leading scorer, Lauri Markkanen, he's questionable with a hip injury. Meanwhile, for the Clippers, Kawhi, Jackson, Kennard, they're all listed as questionable, and Paul George is out. So, looking, at the statuses of these guys throughout the day, I'm sure we'll get a total posted here soon. Now, as a team, the Clippers lost 8 out of their last 10. They're not playing great basketball right now. And even worse news, they're in the second of a back-to-back here tonight, so these guys are going to be tired. LA's done a terrible job on the offensive end of the court this year. They're dead last in the Western Conference in points per game. And no real shock here, guys. The Clips are also dead last in the entire NBA in second quarter scoring. Now, they're facing a Utah team on the other side of things who's doing some things well on defense themselves. They're actually in the top 10 in guarding the 3 ball at home, and they're averaging more defensive boards a night in their own building than most teams in the West. Jared Vanderbilt's grabbing nearly 9 rebounds a game. Meanwhile, Jordan Clarkson, he's getting the job done with over 21 points a night offensively. Now, injury-wise, once again, Lauri Markkanen is questionable. Kelly Olynyk's still out. Meanwhile, for LA, Leonard, Jackson, and Kennard are questionable. George and Wall are still out for them. When it comes to the total, even though we don't have a number yet, just keep in mind that LA's gone 14-8 to the over as the official road team. Meanwhile, Utah went 8-2 to the over in their last 10. So if we see a total posted within reason, I would strongly think about maybe leaning toward the over in that one. But with all that said and done, I'm going to lean toward Utah minus 6.5, getting the job done against the number. Next contest, T-Wolves Nuggets, 10 o'clock East. Denver's minus 8, totals 237. Now, the red-hot Nuggets won their last 7 straight, and they posted an impressive record of 14-2 since December 18th. Now, the Nugs have been impossible to beat at home. These guys are 20-3 inside of the Ball Arena. Nikola Jokic leads the charge with 25 points a game and 11 rebounds a night. Meanwhile, Michael Porter Jr., he's drilling over 41% of his 3 balls. And speaking of shooting the basketball, Denver leads the NBA in offensive field goal percentage. They also have the highest three-point percentage in the entire association as well. These guys are the best shooting team in the NBA. Now, they're facing a Minnesota squad who's had a tough time getting the W on the road themselves. Out of 21 contests away from Minnesota, the T-Wolves got the W only 8 times. When it comes to grabbing boards, not many teams do it worse than Minnesota. These guys are in the bottom 5 in offensive rebounding, and they're also grabbing fewer defensive boards than most clubs in the West. Now, injury-wise, even more problems here with rebounding because Rudy Gobert is questionable. So if he's banged up, if he doesn't play, that's bad news because Rudy is a rebounding machine. Prince and Edwards are questionable as well. Meanwhile, for Denver on the other side, Green, Watson, and Gillespie are still out for them. When it comes to the total, Denver's 15-8 to the under in their own arena. Meanwhile, for Minnesota, they went 8-3 to the under in their road games against in-conference opponents. I'm going to lean toward Denver minus 8, under 237. Guys, give me 1 second. Just give me 1 second. I apologize. Just give me 1 second. Okay, good to go. Just had to check something there real quick. All right, next game. It is going to be Kings at the Lakers. I think that is our next and final breakdown. Yeah, Kings at the Lakers, 10:30 p.m. East. Now, Sacramento's minus 4, totals 244. The Kings are averaging a league-high 120 points a game. I don't know if you realize this. These guys score a lot of points. They're scoring more points a game than anybody else in the league. Probably didn't think you were going to hear that a year ago, but that's what's happening. Sacramento, great with the ball in their hands. They're also on a 4-game winning streak, and they're shooting the ball better from the field than 27 other teams in the NBA right now. Now, Domantas Sabonis, he makes 61% of his field goals. He also leads the NBA with 12.6 rebounds a night. Meanwhile, De'Aaron Fox, he scores a team-high 23 points a game himself. Now, they're facing a Laker team who lost 3 out of their last 4, and they may have to go to work without LeBron James. LeBron's currently questionable with an ankle. And when it comes to defensive play, the Lakers allow nearly 119 points a night. They're actually in the bottom 5 in the league in points per game allowed. Now, injury-wise, once again, LeBron's questionable. AD and Lonnie are still out. And when it comes to the total in this one, the Lakers saw overs against the likes of Houston, Atlanta, and this very Sacramento team. Meanwhile, the Kings saw their last 5 straight get over the total themselves. 70% to the over in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward Sacramento minus 3 in the over 244. But that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my website. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. Hasn't costed you anything for 7 years. And I can't pay my bills when I'm making free content. So I'm just throwing that out there. Just throwing it out there. Take it for what it's worth. But I do have to thank you for joining me here on YouTube. And I do hope you enjoy the free content, the free information. Most importantly, guys, happy Wednesday to you. Happy hump day to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.